So this is what happens when you're away from your house for 2 months. You wind up with a very big weeding job. I'm going to have to get someone to take care of this when I'm not here. But today, I've got a whole lot of work to do. And out the back too, there was no weeds at all when we left. And now we've got loads. One good thing though, the chili plants have done really well. Well, most of them. Okay, so that was a fair bit of regrowth. But we got it all cleared out in a couple of hours. Not too bad now. Now it's time to harvest some chilies. Result. So, finally time to get onto this exterior wall. I've got this really thick exterior paint, which is going on pretty well here. We'll see how it looks when I'm finished. Certainly should look better. Alright, that's one coat done. Pretty good improvement. Time to do the other side. Okay, well I did promise we were going to improve this little courtyard, and with some help from my mother we've come up with this. There's a row of camellias running around the wall, which will eventually get trimmed into a hedge. In the middle is a sakura cherry blossom tree, which is still alive after I planted it a couple of months ago, but of course it will be losing its leaves pretty soon. And this thing was already here. Seems appropriate. And this took 11 20-kilo bags of gravel to cover the weed mat that was already there. And we did a bit of rearranging of the rocks too. So, give it a year or two, that should look pretty good. We've also planted a tree in the other courtyard. This is a Japanese maple, which as you can see is very colourful in autumn. And over at Akiya number 3, just so I don't have to do the same weeding job every time I'm here, I've put weed mat down on the whole front yard, I guess you'd call it. I haven't had a lot of time on this trip to work on this house because we're working on Akiya number 2 and also my ski lodge in Myoko. So I still haven't got around to finishing this floor. But I think a more pressing thing is this handrail, which just looks and feels really dodgy. So I'm going to have a go at fixing that now. And that's it. Another thing done. All I did was buy a 3-meter stainless pole from the hardware store and a few fittings. And now I've got a fair bit more sturdy railing, a slightly more realistic height. Another small improvement inside is this concertina door that I put in the laundry. So that makes the laundry a private space, which means when you get out of the shower or bath, you can dry off and get dressed in here in privacy, which is the normal way of doing things in Japan. Quite a simple kit. You just attach the top rail and it's held in by magnets at each side. It was about 10,000 yen roughly for the door, and it works a lot better than the curtain that we had here before. We've made a couple more improvements on our traditional Japanese room. A friend of mine gave me these cushions which are made from recycled obi belts from kimonos. Which are pretty cool. This table actually came from the ski lodge I recently bought in Myoko. There were 4 of them in that house, so I figured one of them could come here. Picked up this hanging from a second-hand store. Along with this, I'm using retro heater, which is really just a fan heater. This vase also came from a second-hand store for $10, and my wife found this in a cupboard here. It's actually an ashtray, but it looks a lot nicer upside down, I think. When I bought my first Akiya in Japan, a very kind Japanese friend gave me this Ranma carved panel, which you'd normally find above a shoji door, and these other two little panels. And I've been wondering what I could do with them ever since, because they don't really fit above any of my doors. But then I had an idea. There's no bed head on my bed, so I'm going to see if I can turn these three things, into a fancy bed head. I think that these panels look a lot better without the glass. Not least because the glass is filthy, but just generally it lets you see the intricacy of the woodwork. So I'm going to go that way. This is proper recycling. I'm even using second-hand screws. And done. That was pretty easy. Didn't look too bad. And now my pillows won't fall off the back of the bed. Thanks for watching. See you next time.